All right, let's jump right into a really strange paradox about money. Have you ever noticed that no matter how much your income goes up, that feeling of being truly rich or financially secure always seems to be just over the horizon? Well, if you felt that, you are definitely not alone.
In fact, check this out. A recent Harris poll found that a whopping 64% of Americans making over $100,000 a year still feel like they're living in survival mode. That's an income way above the average, and yet most of them feel like they're just getting by.
So this begs a massive question, one that really gets to the heart of our entire relationship with money. Why do so many of us never feel financially secure, no matter how much our paychecks grow?
Well, it turns out the answer isn't really in our bank statements or our budgets. Nope, it's actually buried deep inside our own heads, in our ancient brain programming. You could call it a kind of evolutionary mismatch between the world our brains were built for and the one we're all living in today.
I mean, think about it. For millions of years, our brains evolved in a world of constant, life-threatening scarcity. For our ancestors, more wasn't a luxury. It literally meant safety. More food, more resources, a better shot at seeing tomorrow. That relentless drive to acquire more got hardwired into us. Fast forward to today, in a world of relative abundance, and that same old operating system is still running, but the goal has shifted from pure survival to social status.
And this leads to a fascinating and kind of frustrating concept called the hedonic treadmill. It's the reason why the excitement of a new car or a big raise just wears off so fast. Our brains adapt, our baseline for what feels normal just resets higher, and before we know it, we're back to wanting more. The really dangerous part? To get that same initial rush of happiness, we often have to take even bigger risks just to feel that same level of satisfaction again.
The key to all of this is our brain's reward system. It's fueled by a chemical you've probably heard of, dopamine. But here's the twist most people don't realize. Dopamine isn't the pleasure molecule, it's the motivation molecule. It's designed for the chase, not for the prize itself. We get that addictive dopamine hit in anticipation of a reward. The moment we actually get the raise or buy the thing, our brain just sets a new baseline, and the chase for the next thing immediately begins.
So, how does our modern world take advantage of this ancient programming? Well, it sets a series of really clever traps, making it feel almost impossible to ever truly have enough. First up, the big one, the social media trap. We are just flooded, constantly, with these perfectly curated images of wealth. The exotic vacations, the luxury cars, the designer everything. This triggers this intense social comparison and what researchers call relative deprivation, that gnawing feeling that we have less than the people we're comparing ourselves to. We stop judging our own success by what we actually have and start judging it based on what other people appear to have.
Then there's the productivity trap. You know the mantra? Time is money. It encourages us to put a dollar value on every single moment of our lives. But as Stanford's Jeffrey Pfeffer points out, this way of thinking isn't just a mindset, it has a real, measurable, biological cost.
In one study, it was wild. Participants who were simply asked to calculate their hourly wage showed a nearly 25% spike in cortisol. That's the body's main stress hormone. So this mindset literally makes us more stressed out and way less able to just enjoy our free time.
In this feeling, this constant sense of never having enough, whether it's time or money, it imposes this huge hidden tax on our minds. It traps us in what researchers now call a scarcity mindset.
The main feature of this mindset is something called tunneling. When we feel like we don't have enough of something, our mind focuses with this incredible laser-like intensity on that one urgent need. Now that can make us super effective at solving an immediate problem, but it also makes us completely blind to everything else, especially long-term priorities.
And this kicks off a really vicious cycle. We're so focused on putting out today's fire that we end up borrowing from our future to solve today's problems. We push off saving for retirement, we neglect our health, maybe we take on some debt, which only makes our long-term situation worse. And here's the real kicker. We often don't even see this system at play because we're just too busy managing the immediate crises that it keeps creating.
So, are we just doomed to be stuck on this treadmill forever? Absolutely not. The good news is, once you understand this programming, you can start to consciously override it. We can learn to work with our ancient brains instead of constantly fighting against them.
A whole bunch of research shows this really clear split. When people are prompted to think about money, they tend to become more isolated, more individualistic, and less helpful. But
When they're prompted to think about time instead, they become happier, more social, and get way more satisfaction out of their lives.
So what can we actually do about this? Well, we can take real, concrete steps. We can consciously unplug from that social media comparison game and start defining what a good life looks like for us, not for someone else. We can choose to value experiences over possessions, creating the lasting memories instead of just fueling that hedonic treadmill. We can even buy time, paying someone to do a task we hate, which is a proven path to greater happiness.
And that leaves us with this final thought. Our brain's default setting is for the goalposts of enough to always keep moving. They're literally designed to retreat as we approach them. So maybe true wealth isn't about hitting some ever-receding number in a bank account. Maybe it's just about having the power to decide for yourself, consciously and intentionally, where to set your own finish line.